Okay. So just taking a moment before we begin, just invite you just to feel your feet, just connected to the earth. And just taking a moment to breathe in and breathe out as we gather ourselves in community this day. There is a sacredness in gathering today as a community, as we remember and honor the life of Merilee Angela Forsyth, a strong, courageous, intelligent, deeply loving woman and mother who blessed us and invited us every day to experience the world as alive and with curiosity. And there is a sacredness to this time as we create space and hold space as family and friends to acknowledge our loss and care for each other in our grief, as we give thanks for the gift of who Merilee was to us, knowing that our lives have been enriched because Merilee chose to share herself with us. So in this space, connected to our own hearts, present with each other, in the presence of God, let us pray. May God, the source of all compassion, whose unconditional love surrounds us in our living and our dying, surround Merilee and surround us, comforting her family and friends in our grief, giving us the courage to accept our loss and strength to remember Merilee by honoring her memory, by living fully and loving deeply. Amen.
I'll be reading Psalms 23. My name's Ross Forsyth, and I was Merilee's cousin from Oklahoma. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long.
Hello, I'm Aaron Bigger. I'm Merilee's oldest cousin from Minneapolis. Merilee was the big sister I never had. We miss dearly. I'm reading a poem, I believe in all that has never yet been spoken. I believe in all that has never yet been spoken. I want to free what waits within me so that what no one has dared to wish for may for one spring clear without my contriving. If this is arrogant, God, forgive me, but this is what I need to say. May what I do flow from me like a river, no forcing and no holding back, the way it was with children. In these swelling and ebbing currents, these deepening tides, moving out, returning, I will sing you as no one ever has, streaming through widening channels into the open sea.
Hi, I'm Jared Bigger. I'm Merilee's cousin from Sarasota, Florida. I live my life in widening circles that reach out across the world. I may not ever complete the last one, but I give myself to it. I circle around God, that primordial tower. I have been circling for thousands of years. and I still don't know, am I a falcon, a storm, or a great salt?
Hey y'all, I'm sorry. My name is Alexander Forsyth. I was Meredith's favorite niece, obviously, and I will be playing my favorite things from The Sound of Music.
There are so many things about Merilee that we all loved. We could just choose a few of those things. So this afternoon, there will be a time of sharing that we hope will continue. The family hopes and invites you to continue at the reception afterwards.
I'm Ann Bigger, proud to be sister to Jean, and what am I? Aunt to Merilee. I'm going to give you some family thoughts. I tried to write this with my husband and 2 sons, but if you've ever tried to get the guys in your life to talk feelings, you'll understand why the letter is written by her mother. We can all. But Matt, Nicole, Gabe, Alex, and Tim have been a wonderful support to Mert and me throughout the journey. I love seeing them all watching sporting events together, and you'll see in the photos how happy they were all being together. Mert and Merilee had a special relation of a father and his little girl. Merilee had a work ethic that made us all so proud. This is a great attribute that her father passed on. When Merilee had Tyler, it was a little like babies raising babies. But she grew into caring, responsible mother. Oh, how she loved Tyler. Our multi-generational home wouldn't work for everyone, but it certainly does for us. Merilee and I connected on so many levels. We love the same books. We binge watched the same shows. At the end of the show, we would look at each other and say at the same time, one more. Our family travel adventures were fabulous. Merilee would plan everything down to the minute with spreadsheets, travel books to learn everything we could about the destination. be it traveling with family, friends, or just mom, she would make everything so much fun. Mom and daughter trips were especially great. Ojo Caliente was our happy place, and we sometimes shared it with friends and family. Shopping trips with Merilee was quite an event. Looking at Kara. She knew how to shop bargains, but always looked like she stepped out of a fashion magazine. Her maternal grandmother had the same talent of always looking so stylish. Unfortunately, I feel like the talent skipped a generation. Mare was my fashion guru. So, if you see me with a spot on my shirt or needing an eyebrow plucked, please tell me. I need one of those too. Merilee's dogs meant the world to her. When she got Stella from the dog rescue, she was in heaven. She went up to Castle Rock on her birthday to a Tractor Supply store to try to get this puppy that she wanted so desperately. She got there early, but there was one lady in line who picked out the same puppy. When the lady got up to pay for it, Merilee went up to her with tears in her eyes saying, "You know, let me give you my number, just in case this doesn't work out for you." The lady looked at Mare, took back her credit card, and said, "These two were meant to be together." Thus, Merilee got Stella Artois, a sassy little shepherd mix that took on the personality of Merilee. Stella has been very confused since her mama died. I am doing my best to give Stella as much attention as possible. Of course, Peyton then gets jealous, so I need to give him attention also. A good reason why I'm numb and can't really get my mind around Merilee's death. I'm still in caregiving mode with these dogs. The adrenaline is very evident. The day Merilee was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer the second time, we were lying in her bed, Mare sleeping and me just looking at her. All of a sudden I realized she's happiest when planning and going on a trip. So when she woke up, I asked, "Where do you want to go?" Merilee immediately said, "I want to go to Cabo to see the whales." This started our new adventures. We had many more that we planned, but it's not to be. Mert, Tim, Missy and I are going to go to Europe, Cairo, and the Nile River cruise in Merilee's honor in November. As you can see, when Merilee's friends lovingly talk about her, she is loved. There are many in this room who call her a dear friend. In the last few months, when we knew it was coming to an end, Mert and I would snuggle up to her for hours just to inhale her wonderful smell. You love Merilee. So I just want to say, we just heard from Merilee's 5 cousins. She has 5 cousins. They're all here. They were all willing to take part in this, and Mert and Jean and Merilee really loved that whole idea. So thank you for being there. Adrian, Jared's wife, is our videographer. Is our family photographer, so it makes sense that she's here making a tape of this so we can share it with those people that can't be here. And also thanks to dear Kate, who has just been so wonderful and so caring throughout this whole time. And one last thing, I think it was a week or 2 ago I read an article in the New York Times. I think the name was David French, and he was writing He started out talking about when he was 18 years old in high school. His best friend called him and said, "My dad is really sick and he's dying." And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then I went to bed. You know, you're 18 years old. He says the next few days I kept trying to call him and he wasn't answering. And so I, tried calling him and he wasn't there. So I wasn't able to contact him. And they had the funeral. He went to the funeral. And his friend said, "Where have you been?" And so his whole article was about being there. Please be there. Which brings you to the next people who will be talking. And I probably don't know the half or third of it, but these girls that are going to be talking have been there for Merilee, and that's just so dear. So one last thing, because this came up on Facebook, 2 days ago, which those things just come up weirdly at times when you need them. Not always, but it's called When I Go. When I go, don't learn to live without me. Just learn to live with my love in a different way. And if you need to see me, close your eyes or look in your shadow when the sun shines. I'm there. Sit with me in the quiet and you will know that I did not leave. There is no leaving when a soul is blended with another. When I go, don't learn to live without me. Just learn to look for me in the moments. I'll be there.
I was fine until that poem. Hi, I'm Katie. I was the Forsyth sponsor cadet from 2009 to 2013, the first time Merilee had cancer. Merilee was like a big sister to me and to Grace Gula, who was another sponsor cadet of the Forsyths in the last few years. Although Grace is unable to be here today, she sent me something that she wanted me to read to Merilee. Mare, you impacted me in ways I never got the chance to express to you. During some of my hardest times at the academy, I would find great solace in sharing a glass of wine with you and Mama G. You were my big sister away from home, always willing to chat as I baked away in the kitchen. Merilee, you were the strongest fighter I've ever met and the sweetest mother to Tyler. Every time I mention my time in Colorado, I can't help but share the sweet gift God gave me and the Forsyth family. While I don't understand why God does the things that he does, I know his plan is far greater than our own. I pray you're cheering extra hard for the Broncos and drinking the finest wines in all the world. I'll see you again one day, Mayor, and it'll be sweeter than any moment we shared on earth. I love you always, Grace. And I came back to the Springs in December, ecstatic to be back once again with my sponsor family, and loved getting to spend as much time as I could with you all. The news about Merilee's cancer being back was heartbreaking, and I knew that I wanted Merilee to know what an impact she had on my life, so I wrote her this letter. Dear Merilee, I've been wrestling with accepting that you're dying. I hate those words for a while now. I don't really know how to say what I feel, so maybe writing it down will help. I know you'd think it's ridiculous and emotional, and I couldn't agree more. But I need you to know this, so just let it happen. Mostly I need to say thank you. Merilee, you are the smartest, fiercest, most fabulously unapologetic woman I've ever met. You showed me that I can be fierce and bold and loyal and kind and also proud of myself without having to apologize for any of it. And if any man wasn't okay with that, fuck it. And you did it all while wearing runway-worthy outfits complete with hair perfume. P.S. I need the info on that hair perfume because I'm gonna wear it now. I love it. I love remembering all the fun, exciting adventures like your 40th birthday bash, closing down the Absinthe Bar at Bracktoberfest, dancing to Thriller over and over and over and over and over again, and somehow still getting it wrong when we try to dance to it at Tyler's party. Give Tyler a hug for me, please. But what fills me with even more joy was all the amazing little moments in between of sitting on the couch, watching golf, bones, or yelling at the donkeys. Or sitting on the deck, getting tan in the summer, usually when I was supposed to be at school or somewhere else. So thank you so much, Merilee. Thank you for your example. Thank you for helping me understand that Tiffany's necklaces are better than chunky, whalebone surfer necklaces. Thank you for introducing me to hair perfume, red lipstick, and all your fabulous friends who have absolutely helped me through these last few weeks. But mostly thank you for being you, fiercely and unapologetically. I'll miss you, I love you, and I'll look up to you forever. Love, Katie. P.S. Can you talk to someone up there about getting the Broncos another Super Bowl?
Hello, my name is Nikki Ballarvon. I'm Tanya Burdick. And we are friends of Merilee's from high school. In a weird twist of fate, I'm actually Katie's librarian from high school too, so it's kind of fun. And in that vein, we want to lead with a quote from a book because all three of us were readers, and it seemed fitting. It's so good to have friends who understand how there is a time for crying and a time for laughing, and sometimes the two are very close together. That's by Lois Lowry. What to say about 35 years of friendship, and I apologize in advance, I'm trying to hold together here. We're not sure how we can summarize such a huge part of our lives. Our story began back in high school in 1988. Over the years, we drove each other crazy sometimes, but we always fit right back together like we'd never been apart. When we laughed, people would think the three of us were sisters. Our shared history was so obvious to other people, it's really made us stronger friends. And even though we've gone through a lot of changes in our life, at 30 we committed to get together at least once a year, starting with a trip to wineries. And since then we've been on a lot of adventures together.
Over the last couple of weeks, we've been telling stories of time we spent with Merilee and looking at our roll of pictures. We cherish the time we spent together. We ask ourselves, did we appreciate these moments when we were living them? It was never easy for us to get away from our regular lives, but we always had fun when we got there. We could be on the beach, a beach resort in Mexico, or sitting on our deck, or floating in the pool and have the same amount of fun. And we may have shared a drink or two and a couple of cigarettes along the way.
Just a few.
We had a tradition that we started years ago when we traveled, that we would bring each other gifts. It might be something for the trip, like a bag or a beach towel. It might be something that we loved using, like a lotion or a lip balm. And Mary would say, "This is fabulous. You have to try it."
We have so many things that we wear and that we use that remind us of all of our fun times together. We always knew that we wouldn't want for anything when we were together because we knew the other would always have it. Clothes, shampoo, even weird stuff like hair perfume. You never knew what Mary would pull out of her heavy suitcase like a traveler's Mary Poppins bag. And we never knew what she might convince us to do. This girl got us to go to SeaWorld in July in Texas. Yeah, she was a force to be reckoned with.
The three of us together broke the rules too many times to count. The travel rules, relationship rules, our parents' rules. Sorry, but we had a saying in the last few years of no rules. Just be there for whatever each other needed. Mary was always there in real tough times when we needed her, and we were there for her too. She put on a brave smile to cope with sadness, hers and ours. We could still hear her voice saying, "I'm fine, now let's get a cocktail."
It's fine.
It's fine. She would expect nothing less from each of us, but to find the courage to put on our game face and be fine too.
We have a hole in our friendship where Merilee should be. Best friends are like a part of each other, and Losing her is like losing a piece of our own hearts. Mer was a true friend, one who knew us, really knew us, warts and all. She left us anyway. We'll be honoring Mer in all our future travels, obviously. Even if they're a different kind of adventure without her with us, our friendship with Merilee has truly been one of the greatest gifts of our lives. We'd like to close with a little poem that Tanya wrote.
Youth loaded up in a 4-door red Oldsmobile. Because girls just want to have fun. Bold and beautiful, blonde hair and red lips. A fabulous laugh and a bright smile. A daughter, a mother, an aunt, a cousin, a friend. We shared miles filled with fun, shopping, love, and heartache. A lady that showed no fear, one we love. We love and miss you, Merilee.
That's our girl. That's our Merilee.
I'm Kara, one of Mer's girls. I'll never forget the first day I met Merilee in 2009 at Penrose Cancer Center in the Gynecologic Oncology Clinic. Merilee was the office manager, and I was a brand new nurse practitioner. Her beautiful smile and fun personality instantly drew me in, and I knew we were destined to become lifelong friends. We worked together for about 3 years before I moved to Minneapolis. Merilee always excelled at her job, supporting the staff and patients in our clinic. During this time, she taught me so much about being a strong and confident woman and guiding me in the early years of my career. After I moved away, we remained close friends, traveling to see each other several times a year. We all know Merilee loved to travel, but there was always something special about spending time with her at her cabin in South Dakota. It was a place where we could relax and enjoy times with our family. Some of my favorite memories of Merilee took place on her back deck, drinking a good bottle of wine. We would talk about work, the latest fashion trends, shoes, beauty products, the Denver Broncos, and travel. We dreamed if we won the lottery, we would buy a beautiful RV and travel around the country. We would hire Pierre, a French stud with a chiseled body from Paris, who would drive us around with one requirement, that he would be topless. However, if we didn't win the lottery, we would have Mert drive us around.
Not topless.
With the requirement that he would remain fully clothed. Well, we never won the Powerball. I sure did win the lottery the day I met Merilee.
Hi, everyone. I'm Camille. I'm Merilee's friend of about 20 years. And my heart is completely broken. You guys, Merilee and I are total opposites. You would think it's impossible for us to be friends. I mean, we have nothing in common. I mean, she doesn't like the kind of food I like. She doesn't want to sweat or go for a hike. I don't want to watch TV on a Sunday. Like, honestly, we have very, very little in common.
Shopping?
We could shop, but I drive her crazy. And she doesn't want to shop with me. But I will tell you where we did bond. When I first met Merilee, we worked at the same office. And she was so stinking beautiful. I mean, big blonde hair, and she was tall, and she wore lipstick all the time. And she was unapologetic for who she was and how she managed her job. She was unapologetic on how she just ran her life. And we two snuck out for cigarettes and ended up bonding over drinking wine and cigarettes and talking about our kids. We bonded over being parents. My kids and Tyler were close to the same age, and she was brave enough to share him with me. she let me put him in the car and take him to Waterworld when she had never done anything like that before. And so that's what we bonded on. And, over the years, we were there, we created this amazing friendship that although we didn't do things together day in and day out, I didn't watch the Broncos with her, and she didn't go on a hike with me ever. Not one time. But we were there for each other when our lives blew up. And I mean, blew up. Whether it was when I was going through hard times with my family, we went to her house, and she accepted us without any question and just listened. When her life blew up, she called me, and I went back to her house, and I tried to do the same thing, just to listen. And that was what our friendship was built on. It was built on us being totally different and accepting it, finding the places that we could rely on one another. I would not have met my husband if it wasn't for Merilee. She had been sick. She had been on the couch for over a year after having surgery and chemo and radiation, and her body just took a complete just torture. And I made her go out with me, and we went and we sat at the bar and had cocktails. And I asked the bartender, I'm like, I'm not ready to take this lady home. Where can I take her? And he mentioned that there was an 80s band playing down the street. So that's where I took her. And that night we had a really, really good time. And I met my husband that night, and that is truly her biggest gift to me, is being willing to go out with me that night, because she did not want to go. She actually called Kara for reinforcements. I wanted to be out here. But honestly, if I learned anything from Merilee, it's to be yourself, be unapologetically yourself. It's to be brave and let in other friendships, but they don't look like you. Do the same things. You'll find common ground, and you'll have something that you can learn from one another. And she helped me understand boundaries. There were things that we would not talk about because she said, we're not talking about that. And there were times that I would ramble, and she would put her hand up to me and say, just stop. But all of that really taught me, like, that's a true friendship, is you can take all of it and you can make something from it, and you don't have to be the same. I was so fortunate, the most incredible time, probably in my adult life, to spend 18 hours with Missy and with Tim and with Matt, and hold her hand and talk to her and tell her everything I ever wanted to say. And that was the biggest gift for me. And she was so brave. I just wanted to tell you that was just an incredible gift for me. But be open to any friendship, because it might just be the most amazing one you ever have.
I don't think that Xanax kicked in yet. My dealer died. Okay, when I think about Merilee, I think about how effervescent she was, like a good champagne or Prosecco. Pretty, fun, elegant. She could make you laugh. She mixed well with others, right? Or good on her own. She could be super expensive. Or she could be pretty chill and average, just like the rest of us. She loved football, everyone said that, especially her Broncos. Like Camille, I could care less. But I would go and hang with her, right? Fart around on my phone, get in trouble. Can you please pay attention to the game? I don't care. She enjoyed having friends and family over to watch football, but she really just loved spending time together, even if it was just hanging out. She was happiest traveling and planning a trip. She had a penchant for for shopping, keen eye, and of course, looked beautiful on anything. She would tell me, I'm not shopping, not spending any money. And then she would go out, typically with Camille, and say, oh, I bought this jumper. And I'd be like, oh, how much was it? $400. Your shopping and my shopping is different. When Tyler passed away, I decided on my second 2-day drive out here in 2 weeks that it was just too far away. Life was too short to be that far away from people that matter that most or that much to me. So I packed up my life in Ohio and I moved back here. At this point, I am so very thankful that I had those 3.5 years here. I could go over anytime I wanted, 3 miles away, just walk in the house. Although just the other day I had to ask, do I have to start knocking that?
We said no.
I don't. It would have been awkward if I did. But I could go over, we could go run errands, go to Target, go to Costco, which was also quite dangerous, go to dinner, go to a movie. Although movies were tough, I cry a lot, even when it's not a funeral. And she would look over very disgustedly and say, are you crying? And I would say, yes, I have a soul. I'm crying. We could do anything or nothing at all. We both love dogs. We tried so hard to get our girls to be best friends, but Izzy and Stella had no part of that. They were not in the mood for best friends. But Izzy loved her Aunt Mare in a way that I've never seen a dog love another person. If I'm being completely honest, I got a little jealous sometimes. Izzy squealed and danced around when Mare came over in a way that, gosh, I would be like, that dog never does that for me. But when Izzy was a puppy, Mare came to Ohio for a couple weeks, and I worked in the office. That's how long ago this was. And Izzy would stay home all day with Mare, and the two of them were just BFFs. So when Izzy passed away very suddenly last July at only 4, I was heartbroken, but now I think she was just getting ready for Aunt Mare. She was figuring out the best place. One of the things I'm taking away from this loss of Mare is her let's do it attitude. So I'm really bad, but I think we all get in the habit of when someone says, hey, let's go for a hike, or hey, let's go do this. We say, yeah, sure, let's do it. So in the last couple weeks, I've started saying, yeah, let's book it. So Camille and I went for a hike last Monday. We almost died. For real, there was a thunderstorm in Garden of the Gods, and lightning really bad. I remember at one point I said, these rocks have been here millions of years. We're gonna be fine. I went with my friend Karen for a hike, so I'm trying to say yes more. Mare loved to travel. She was happiest when planning a trip. She was enthralled with maps. I'm pretty sure she must have been a cartographer in a previous life. She had an amazing sense of direction. Worked great for me because unless there's mountains to the west, I don't really know where we are. Or if you're in the middle of Garden of the Gods and you can't see the mountains, I don't know what to do. In New York City when we went shopping, you know, lots of buildings around. We would come out of a place and I would just stand there and she'd say, where do we go? And I'd say, I don't know. That's not my job. I don't do that, you do that. For beach vacations, she made sure we got the very best lounge chairs for optimal sun gathering and really libation serving. This actually meant being at the pool before 7 a.m. So nice vacations. Speaking of travel, when it came to travel and fun, she did it in style. She got a margarita machine as a gift one year.
perfected a margarita recipe that, at least for me, was absolute heaven. Although Jean, pretty fabulous job last night. These margaritas are absolute heaven going down. You don't taste the tequila. No residual effects the next day. And a lot of fun when you're drinking them. Margarita machine is named Lola, yes, from Barry Manilow. She is a showgirl. She has yellow feathers in her hair. And Lola made many trips and adventures with us. She's been to Mesa Verde, Canyonlands, Arches, Black Canyon of the Gunnison, Mount Princeton, Lake Cochran, South Dakota, St. Germain, Wisconsin, a mansion in Reunion, Florida, and Disney World, Florida. How did she get there? She has her own suitcase. Just like a car top carrier laden with travel stickers, Lola is now embellished with stickers from her travels. You'll see her in the basement today. Lola was fiercely loyal and protective of those she loved. Lola, Mayor, sorry. Little Freudian slip like that. But Mare was fiercely loyal and protective of those she loved. She had amazing friendships. She has best friends from high school in St. Louis, best friend from Minneapolis, little Kara, best friend Camille, best friend from high school in England. Started therapy recently to help with the sudden loss of my Izzy and to prepare for this inevitable loss for Merilee. And my therapist shared that it was incredibly rare for adult women to have a best friend, much less multiple best friends, and that we should take that to heart. And I think that was something that Mare did. Mare brought all of these beautiful women something different to the table. She brought some of the best things to all of us. I know she did for me. She taught me to stand up for myself, to love fiercely, to be myself, and to be unapologetic, to live each day to the fullest, to travel, and to see and learn new things. She was one of the strongest people I know. She made it through pancreatic cancer, Whipple, chemo, radiation, almost 12 years cancer-free. She lost an unimaginable loss after Tyler, and when that damn cancer came back, I don't know how she didn't give up immediately. Because I'll be honest, I think I would have been like, you know what, I just can't do it again. But she didn't. She didn't ask, why me, why now? She just said, all right, what do we gotta do? And let's plan some trips. Let's make the most out of it. Right up until the very end, Merilee was determined to do things her way, on her terms. And I will tell you, when Camille will second, and so will Timmy. Speaking of on her terms and doing things her way, she was adamant about not going to the hospital. Absolutely adamant. It was not gonna happen. As she declined, we had no choice but to take her to the hospital. But when we got her to the hospital and worked to get her out of the car, this little girl was fierce. She had both hands on the frame of the car door, and you had to peel her fingers off. And then she would put them right back on. And then we would get one foot out of the car, and she'd put it right back in. We'd get the other foot out, she'd put it right back in. Then Camille, who's about this tall, and Merilee's about that tall, was trying to maneuver her into the wheelchair, and Merilee just fought every step of the way. Not getting out of this car, and not going in that building. Fortunately, we pretty much forced her. She got in there, and as the doctors were trying to ask her her name, she glared at them and wouldn't respond, and we said, ooh, if you could only hear what she's saying to you right now in her head, I don't know that you'd want to know what she's saying. I'll miss you forever, Merilee. I hope you and Tyler and Izzy are together. Promise to keep traveling. I miss you so much. I've already gone over to your house a couple times crying to talk about what a shitty day I had. And thank you for being my best friend.
struggles, her expansiveness reaching out beyond herself, surrounding us in passionate, strong, determined, adventurous, bright light, and energy of love that knew the flow, the rhythms of solitude and community, spontaneity and routine, seriousness and lightheartedness. She was a fierce protector and defender of all whom she loved, her heart energy teaching us about friendships, fierce dedication and loyalty, and fierce tenderness, whose grounded wisdom deepened relationships, creating belonging and a sense of home, even more so in the moments of her moments of sass and struggle. Girls just want to have fun getaways and without hesitation, showing up for those she loved when needed. Merilee's unwavering determination combined with her clarity of vision fueled her work and path in life, inspiring belief and faith in what is possible, while supported and grounded in hard work and steadfastness. She knew the depths of life as she opened to wonder and curiosity in the people she met and places she visited. She discovered being present in the moment to life, joy in abiding friendships, contentment with her family, unconditional love with her son Tyler, in his life and death. We were blessed that Merilee shared her life with us, no holding back. As she lived the words that we heard earlier from the poet Rilke, may what I do flow from me like a river, no forcing and no holding back, the way it is with children. And she did. I don't presume I understand the mystery of what it means to live in this world myself, let alone for you, nor about grief and its own timing of unfolding, then mending, then grieving and letting go and healing. Sometimes separately, sometimes all at one time, differently for each one of us. And yet, when someone we love dies, even as we honor their life, we also acknowledge our sorrow and grief. Holding space this afternoon to acknowledge that Merilee's death is heartbreaking, and that we feel her absence, and that she is not defined by her death, but by her living as she lives on through us. And so we hold the grief, and we hold all that has been life-giving as we celebrate today, giving each other strength to remember her, to remember our loved one, and to bless her on her journey. So I invite us to take a moment in this space, if you're comfortable, to connect to your mind, to connect to your heart, whatever is most calling to you in this moment. And as you, again, feel your feet on the ground, in your own way with your eyes open, looking at the picture on the table or with your eyes closed, to connect into that place within you for a moment. As in your own way, you hold that space of gratitude for Merilee. Thank you. To live with wonder, to be curious about the world and people, to be open to new cultures, to love family, to embody strength of spirit and character. What a gift Merilee shared with us. This human experience is mysterious, but I sense that we come into the world from an infinite source of love from God. and get to have the experience of being human, experience the preciousness of life in embodied form, the preciousness of relationships, and we know our time with each other is sacred. Then we flow back into this infinite source of love, and if we are blessed like Merilee was, then we do so knowing how treasured we were. You loved Merilee. You love Merilee. And Merilee loved you. And we love each other. And we thank Merilee for being her amazing self and giving and sharing so much with us as we bless her today with our deepest respect and love. For now, this is enough, and it has to be. And I pray that each of you, in your own way, will find goodness of life and comfort and gentleness of spirit in your grief.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Holly Forsyth from.
We're from Oklahoma, Merlee's cousins.
Okay, so this is a responsive reading. So in your program, you will find an insert, and you will be reading the line, "We remember Merilee."
At the rising sun and at its going down.
At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter.
At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring.
At the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer.
At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of the autumn.
At the beginning of the year and when it ends.
When we are weary and in need of strength.
When we are lost and sick at heart.
When we have decisions that are difficult to make.
When we have joy we crave to share.
When we have achievements that are based on hers.
For as long as we live, she too will live, for she is now part of us as.
Family, as you grieve this loss in your own way with the multitude of emotions that may come, may you be surrounded by compassion, gentleness of heart, knowing that you were deeply loved and are still deeply loved, and that your love is with Merilee. Community, as we grieve this loss, let us commit ourselves to the comfort of those who miss Merilee the most, her parents and siblings, and all of her family and friends. And let us surround them with our love and pray that they may be comforted by the sacred. So hear these words as we go forth, knowing that there continues to be time to share, to be a community at the Forsyth's house after this. So now let us go into the world, glad that we have loved, empowered to live our lives as joyfully and fearlessly as Merilee did, embodying deep kindness and generosity, being present with each other in the moment, and finding joy in the adventure of life. And may God be our company, granting us compassion and surrounding us in compassion and love in this parting. Amen.
Thanks everybody for coming. Come over to our house. And there's some little